The ongoing drought and famine in the region known as the Horn of Africa continues to be one of the worst in history, affecting some 12 million people in the area, especially in Somalia. Many of you have given generously and responded to our Crossroads missions appeal over the last month or so, and it's resulted in literally saving many, many lives as we're working together with churches, missionaries, and others there on the ground. I'm joined now by someone who has just returned from Somalia, Brian Stiller, who was recently appointed as a global ambassador for the World Evangelical Alliance, which represents some 6 million Christians all around the world. Welcome, Brian.
Welcome. Great to be here, Ron.
Now, Brian, you sent us some reports back from overseas that we saw here on 100 Huntley Street. People may have caught those. But how on earth did you end up in Mogadishu, one of the most dangerous areas in the world?
Well, this new appointment to WEA, the World Evangelical Alliance, which represents about 600 million Christians, what does that mean? What's my job? So one evening, my wife and I are watching the news of the famine in East Africa, and I had this great inner sense I should be there. So I told Lily, and she said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know, but I'm going to show up. So we made plans. I was going to work with a major organization, go to a refugee camp. That fell through. We had some other plans. That fell through. So here I am in Nairobi, and I asked, has anybody been to Mogadishu? They said, well, no, you can't get in there. I said, well, has any Christian been there? They said, well, we don't know of any recently. I said, let's try and go. And so all along the way, we were, as doors closed, and I've learned this over the years as the Spirit leads, when doors close, you don't say that as a dead end, you simply see it as a rerouting. So you keep looking for the places. We got tickets. We found a plane that was going through there. We went to the embassy. We got visas. We got in there. But when we got in there, the immigration officer wouldn't let us out of the airport because it is such a dangerous place. And here's some pictures to show you the kind of devastation that Mogadishu is experiencing. And you feel like you're going into Berlin after the Second World War. Places are bombed out. But just before we got there, the African Union Army had driven the Al-Shabaab, the armies out of Mogadishu. And they're they're the Al-Qaeda group operating in southern Somalia.
And so you were there. I remember you encountered one photojournalist who, using some expletives. What are you doing here, in this dangerous area?
Well, and as we're standing in the airport, he asked me that, and he says, then who's going to look after you? Well, we hadn't gotten that far yet. He said, his expletives, you're crazy. So as we were working our way through, an immigration officer got a hold of us and put us in a room and said, what are you doing here? And I said, well, we're here on reconnaissance. We're trying to find out whether Christian aid organizations can get back in. Because in a sense, I was working it out as I went along, feeling a little insecure at times, but knowing that we were to be there. It ended up, a warlord looked after us. We stayed in his hotel, which is well guarded. He had an army of 100, a warlord that was working along with the expats who were coming back into Somalia to try and reconstruct the government. And that's where we stayed. We're protected as we went through Mogadishu and went to a number of refugee camps.
And some of these, the warlord appointed a number of soldiers with AK-47s to protect you.
Oh, yes.
But speaking of the refugee camps, you took some of these pictures.
I did with a little camera. Thousands coming into Mogadishu every day. There's hardly any aid. There's hardly any help that we could see. Enormous need, mostly women and children, and tremendous capacity for opportunity to serve. But you can see the tremendous need right there. Now,
the Al-Shabaab, that division somewhat of Al-Qaeda, had kind of forced out a lot of the Christian organizations, and they were afraid to even be in there.
Oh yeah, they've driven them out of. You have 3 areas of Somalia. The southern Somalia, they were driven out, and so there's no Christian aid organizations there. And we didn't see a lot of others. There is the Red Cross and a few others, but we didn't see them.
But now there's opportunity to come back in to be a help. In fact, we're going to have some information come up on the screen right now because, Brian, we're still able to receive gifts. There's still a one-to-one matching opportunity that we have.
And Ron, after just being there, if I could encourage your friends and and supporters to make a generous gift now. This is considered the greatest famine the world has ever known. So if your people would be generous and provide support to Crossroads for your initiative, that would be marvelous.
And the number you see there is 1-800-265-3100. You can go online at crossroads.ca/missions, where you can also write to Crossroads Missions to our Canadian or U.S. address. Well, Brian, I'm glad you made it back safely, and God bless you on this new appointment, and there's lots to accomplish. And thanks so much for staying in touch, everyone.
Now there are even more ways to join the 100 Huntley Street online community. We'd love to hear from you, so stay in touch with us.